One of the ways that scientists study what lives in the Hudson River is through something called electroshocking. I know it sounds odd, the combination of electricity and fish, but it has some pretty amazing results. We're joined today by my good friend Lori. Hello, Lori.
How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing fantastic. Can you tell us a little bit about electroshocking?
I sure can. Well, Chris might have mentioned that we do study with a lot of different scientists doing work on the river. And some get to work in laboratories, some get to work in marshes and swamps, others do get to work on the river in boats.
Fantastic.
And electroshocking is a really cool way to study fish.
Right.
Now, we caught up with Dan when he was getting ready to set up the boat for the season.
Okay.
Remember, he gave us a tour.
We're here a few weeks before Estuary Live, rigging up this strange-looking boat with Dan Miller. Dan, how are you?
Good, how are you, Chris?
Excellent.
Hey, will you tell us a little bit about this boat, Dan?
Sure, this boat is an electrofishing boat. We use electricity to sample fish in the Hudson River. It all starts with this generator right here, which is strong enough to light in a small home. Electricity goes from this generator into a control box here where I can control the amount of electricity that's actually going into the water. The electricity runs along cables to the front of the boat and to some cables that are hanging off these large booms. They dip down into the water and create a field of electricity right off the front of the boat.
Very cool. Does that electricity hurt the fish?
No, it doesn't hurt the fish. It just stuns them long enough for them to float to the surface and allow my crew on the bow of the boat to dip the fish out and put them into this live well here. We keep them in the live well until we're done electrofishing, and then we'll stop, measure all the fish, identify them, and then throw them overboard where they swim off just fine.
Now, I'm guessing this is something people shouldn't try at home.
Yes, you're right about that, Chris. Electricity and water are very dangerous things to put together, and we are all specially trained, and we have a lot of special equipment here to keep our crew safe while we're out in the water. Please don't try this at home.
Great. Let's go see some electroshocking in action. All right, folks. Well, Dan and John are out in the river right now in their electroshock. Hey, Dan, how's it going out there? Good to see you. Here's Dan. Here's John. He's got a net over there. Lori, so what's going on exactly right now on the boat?
Well, we just saw how Dan controls the current and the steering from the back of the boat.
Yep.
And John's busily catching up all the fish that get stung by the current.
Right.
So that's working out pretty well.
Now, why do we care about what's going on with these fish? Why are we doing this at all?
Well, it's really hard for some methods of sampling to fish in these shallow waters. And there's a lot of things for the nets to get snagged on.
Sure.
So the current there only affects the water for about 15 feet in any direction.
Gotcha.
So it's really useful for studying these shallow habitats.
Awesome. I want to take a look at a couple of things we got. Do you mind if I actually take a look at some of these?
Sure, let's
We
take a look.
Dan and John went electroshocking earlier today, and we've got some pretty cool stuff. Now, this is a great fish. Take a look at this thing. Now, I know this is going to look weird because I've got my thumb in its mouth, but this is a tremendous fish. Look at this beauty. Oh my gosh. This is a common carp. Now, it's very interesting because when Henry Hudson came up the river in 1609, there were no carp there. This is a more recent introduction, but you can see this beautiful animal, those gorgeous scales. I've got my thumb in its mouth just to control it. It's not hurting the fish at all. This is one gorgeous animal, and the last thing that we would want to do is hurt this. This is just such a beautiful thing. Mwah! Love these guys. We're gonna put this back in the water, and don't worry, all these fish are gonna go back very, very safely to the river. Now, Lori, just real quick, for those areas where we can't electroshock with a boat, is there a way to study things like streams and really super shallow water?
Absolutely. We can use backpack electroshocker to study fish in the really shallow streams. But remember what Dan said at the end of his tour of the boat, electricity and water is a very dangerous combination. So please don't mess with them at all. We have special training and equipment.
Awesome. Lori, thanks a lot.
Hey, no
Really
worries.
appreciate it.